Hello, and welcome to the dining room, where we're not going to be talking about cameras, we're going to be talking about microphones. So as I mentioned last week, I finally got in the microphone that I ordered long ago and had to wait months for, supply chain issues, chip shortages, those kind of things. But it finally arrived, and I used it last week in the video. Now, if you thought the audio was at all decent in last week's video, well, it may have had something to do with the microphone. In fact, it probably had a lot to do with the microphone, since that was the only thing that was different. Now, right now, I am using a lavalier microphone, which is another microphone I bought trying to get better. But again, it was a lavalier. I got this thing in my head that the lavalier was the way to go. Well, now remember, I started using microphones to record my lectures for school, where I'm like standing in a suit and tie and in front of a camera with slides behind me. And so a lavalier just seemed perfect for that. But then when I start moving around and going out in the garage, when I started the YouTube channel, then there was a lot more movement. But still, the lavaliers kind of made sense, although, and this is where I ran into trouble, I like to have backup audio. So like I like to have microphones running on all the cameras. So the problem became using so I'd have a lavalier on each side, but they're wireless, right? They go down to wireless transmitters in my pocket, which then go to receivers that are on top of the cameras. Well, it turns out they interfere with each other. I need to do, especially now that if I'm going to be doing the vlogging, which I keep threatening to do, then I need a shotgun mic, because that's what all the vloggers do, right? They put a shotgun mic on top of their camera, and then they put it on a little stick, and they run around pointing at themselves, and the microphone is right there. And there's all sorts of the Rode, and there's all sorts of things, and there's all these different recommendations. But Sony, when they brought out the A7 IV, they came out with a digital mic, which uses the hot shoe on the A7 IV, Now, you have to go look at their website to see which camera. If you have a Sony camera, it may or may not be compatible. Well, it will always be compatible in analog mode, but that's not where the fun is. The fun is when you use it in digital mode. Well, let's look at it, and then we'll get into more details. So anyway, it looks a lot like the picture. In fact, like I said, I already unboxed it. What was in the box was this bag and a bunch of little manuals. Okay, unboxing out of the way. Okay, so it comes in this little carrying case. So you open up this little carrying case when you take it out of the bag, and here is the microphone. And oh my goodness, look at this. To start with, it's not a microphone, it is 8 microphones in a row. What this enables them to do with digital signal processing is, well, I'll show you all this stuff later on in close-ups. But there's a switch here on directionality. And they have a thing called super unidirectional. And what that does is it uses when this is pointed, at the speaker, basically it can tell if it's off axis or if it's on axis. So super directional. So basically it only really hears what's directly in front. We're going to test this a little later. Right. Then the next one is like unidirectional. So super directional is right in front. Unidirectional, it's in this general vicinity. And we'll test this later. And then finally it has the third setting, which is omnidirectional. And when you put it at that mode, then if you're on the side or behind, and here's the fun part, you can throw this switch on the fly. So if I'm shooting myself, and then I decide I want to swing the camera, remember with my gimbal, I want to triple click and have the camera swing around. So now the microphone's pointing that way. Well, I can just reach up and throw that little switch, and now it will hear me coming from behind it. It will be picking up equally well from in front and behind. So that's the first little magic digital signal processing things this does. The second thing it does with the digital signal processing is if you put the thing, if it's in the hot shoe, which by the way, I might as well, so you take off the little hot shoe cover, And by the way, the microphone has a little hot shoe cover on it too to protect the the pins. So you see the pins. And then you slide this on here. There we go. You slide it into the hot shoe so it makes contact. And then you screw this little knob down to tighten it. And bingo, you have a digital directional microphone, shotgun microphone. By the way, also in here is the wind muff. I will not use the derogatory term, which is cruel to animals. So if you're going outside, since I'm not going outside, the magic of digital processing is the superdirectional, unidirectional, omnidirectional. The second magic thing is once it's attached this way to the hot shoe, the signal is sent digitally and then recorded with the video. So it is never analog. It comes in here analog, and then these things start doing the digital processing. Now there's some more digital processing you can do, but you have your digital analog button at top. Again, if you don't have the right Sony camera, some Sony cameras, even with the hot shoe, it will not record digitally. You'll have to put it in analog. It'll still work and record analog. Again, go to Sony's website. They have all the cameras that it's compatible with. But it's basically for the digital stuff, for the digital hot shoe recording, it's A7 IV, A7C, ZVE10, which are all basically cameras that came out in the last couple of years, the last 2 to 3 years. Older ones you're going to have, even if they have a hot shoe. The other magic thing, buttons back here, they have filters. So they have off and then LC and NC. Low C is low cut. So it cuts off low frequencies. So like, you know, you're standing next to an air conditioning unit, or there's low vibrations, there's low sound. You throw it into low cut and it'll cut out the low frequencies. Now NC is noise cancellation. And this is, again, working, especially in working with the superdirectional. It tries to cancel out all noise that it's not coming from directly in front of it. So, or again, I guess when you're omnidirectional, I think it still does some noise reduction, but of course it won't be nearly as accurate. Then there's an attenuation switch where you can go minus 10 dB, minus 20 dB, or 0 dB. I tend to turn those down because, well, I'm loud. That hello at the beginning, that tends to spike the audio. Spiking the audio. Let's talk about audio level. Now it has two buttons. It has a switch here, auto and manual. And if you put it in manual, there's a little dial here where you can go from 0 to 10. And the 5 is like very highlighted. So it's like, so you'll be sure to see it. And B, I guess they're kind of suggesting 5 is a good place to put it. But here's what I've discovered from A, using it, and B, watching a lot of videos, is in the auto mode, it does some sort of digital audio processing magic so it doesn't clip. So you don't get that distortion when it's really something really loud happens. It doesn't get that clip and distortion that you get on regular microphones. Again, it's like voodoo. It's magic. It's digital magic. But apparently you can't overload this microphone. So it's pretty amazing. And again, I will switch to it, well, I guess soon. How about now? Okay, so now I have reconfigured the room so that the A7C with the... By the way, I didn't mention the name because, well, it's so memorable. Why would I need to mention? Everyone knows that it's the ECM-B1M, because that's just the perfect name for a thing that tells you with just those few letters that it's an E, I guess, electronic. I have no idea what the C stands for. M is a microphone. There's no S for shotgun. Sony. But I have it now set up so that you're listening to me on the A7C and through the I have to look. ECM-B1M, because who can remember that? So you're listening through that, and I have it in super directional mode. But what I've done is I've set up I've moved the other camera, the ZV-E10 that was right there a minute ago in the video. And so it's going to show me as I walk around. So this is me talking at the same level of volume as I walk around beside the camera. And I'm now, as you can see, well, because I will have switched to the other camera view. So you'll see me on the ZV-E10, and I'm standing directly beside the camera. And now I'm going to go walk around behind the camera, which will get me off view in all the cameras. So now I'm standing, I mean, like, well, here you see my hand. That's about a foot from my face. So I'm directly behind the microphone. Well, I can't continue walking around, but I imagine the other side works the same. Now, while I'm back here, I'm going to throw this little switch. Oh, there. I'm going to throw the switch to unidirectional. So I'm still behind it. So do I sound any louder than I did before I said I was throwing the switch? But now as I walk around here to beside the camera, I should be considerably louder than I was when I was going the other way and it was set on super directional. And now I'm back over in my chair. I don't know why I'm sitting down. I guess this will be in the frame because I have to get back up because now I have to go back over and do omnidirectional. So now we're in unidirectional, unidirectional, unidirectional. And we come around here behind them. Now I'm behind the microphone. I'm directly behind the microphone. And I'm going to throw the switch down into omnidirectional. So do I sound much louder than I did just moments ago? How about now when I walk back around to the side? Now we don't have any background noises to throw this off. So now I'm back over here. And now I'm in unidirectional mode. So that's what it sounds like as you move around the microphone in the three different modes. I can't hear it, of course, until I go play this back, but I have seen other people do this similar test on their channels, and yeah, I could tell. I mean, I could tell you, they would get, especially in super directional, they would get very quiet when they weren't like right here. And then in the unidirectional, you could hear them fairly well through here, but then again, around behind the camera, not so much, but in omnidirectional, you could. So, well, you be the judge. I also want you to have listened. The one thing that people ding this microphone on is it has a shock mount. So that, you know, if the camera gets shaken or whatever, it's supposed to keep the microphone stable, but apparently it bottoms out, is what people say it does. So when I was flipping the switches, I felt the microphone moving on the shock mount. Did you hear that? And if you did, that's a bad thing. And then I've seen a couple of channels where people tried this microphone out for vlogging, and as they were walking around, you would hear a low rattle, a rumble that was the microphone in the shock mount. You could hear it. I don't know if this is going to be a problem for me because, remember, I bought a gimbal for when I'm doing the walking, talking thing. And hopefully the gimbal will keep enough of the shake out of the shock mount so that you won't hear it. But I guess we'll find that out down the road. Now that I've switched to this microphone, let me tell you about this microphone that I've been using on the ZV-E10, the Lavalier mic. So I'm going to pause again. I'm going to go disconnect this microphone and bring it over here so I can show it to you. Okay, camera's reconfigured. So what I had been trying immediately before the ECM-B1M was the equally well-named ECM-W2BT. But this is a wireless mic. This is also a hot shoe mic made by Sony for the Sony cameras. So if you have an A7C, an A7, a ZV-E10, an A7 IV, or recent cameras, this also will record digitally. But again, it will work in the hot shoe analog for older cameras. There's a switch. Well, here, let me show you how it works. So first, it comes in this cool little configuration with a little clip in between. So the part that mounts on the camera is this bigger one here. Well, okay, the clip came with it there. So it goes in and out of this clip, see, to protect the pins, and then you slide it in to the hot shoe. This does not need to be tightened down; it just locks in, and that's the receiver. And then the transmitter is this not so compact thing, but it has a microphone in the top, so you can just clip it to your shirt or, you know, whatever. Or if you want to be a little more subtle, I guess clip it the other way. It still is going to be a big black thing. But what I like to do, and by the way, this is an additional cost. All this will be in the description below. Sony sells a lavalier to go with it, which, of all the lavalier mics, I've bought a lot of lavalier mics. I got the Rode lavaliers to go with the wireless Go's. You can go watch that video. It'll be linked below. My microphone video from 6 months ago or so. But this is a stereo lavalier mic. See? Check this out. It's left and right. So if you go to clip it on this side, well, oh, this is my left hand and this is my right. So that's correct. But what if I want to clip it on this lapel? Well, now the right is pointing to the left. Oh, it swivels on the clip. So see, now left is here. This is my left and there's the right. And so now I can clip it onto this side. And so you can flip it from side to side just by rotating the mic on the clip. It's a rather clever thing. Anyway, this goes on the hot shoe. So you can plug this in here. See, it has a little microphone that you plug in. And then the transmitter, it's just on or off, and then there's attenuation, minus 10 dB, or none, 0 dB, minus 10, minus 20. So again, and I tend to run these minus 20, again, because of my loud. It has the same problem, by the way, that all lavalier mics, one of the reasons I want to get away from lavalier mics, I mentioned this last week that I was going to try to move away. It's because where you can clip them. Now, if you're wearing a t-shirt, well, the most obvious place would be to clip it here around your neck. Well, if you go back and watch some of my older videos where I have the lavalier clipped to my t-shirt, you will discover that it gets muffled when I look down. Like when I'm looking down at something, my beard covers it up and it gets all muffly. Or if it's like off to one side slightly, when I turn this way and the mic's over here, it gets quiet. And then when I turn this way, it gets real loud. And so you have a lot of volume issues. So the regular viewers of the channel have put up with this. Well, maybe that's why I don't have so many regular viewers of the channel, because people don't want to put up with this. Well, that's why I got a new microphone. We'll see how it goes from here forward. But so that's the problem with lavaliers. Not made any better by these kind, which tend not to be as good a microphone. Because it's still the same thing. You can hook it up here. The receiver that goes onto the hot shoe, it has a button, digital or analog. So if you have an A7C, A7 IV, or ZV-E10, you flip it to digital, it'll record digital. Well, no matter what kind of Sony camera you have with a hot shoe, put this on, and if you don't get any audio, well then flip it to analog, because you don't have apparently the digital interface. That's only in the later cameras. Now, here's a cute little thing on this guy. Now, this is the thing that attaches to the camera. So it kind of looks like a little shotgun mic. There's a microphone back here. So again, in the vlogging situations or something, or maybe you want to give the lavalier to someone you're interviewing. So you hook it on them. So they've got, you know, this piece over on them. Well, you can turn on this microphone. See, there's a button here on the side that says receiver at this end, microphone at this end, mix in the middle. So you can put it on receiver. So if you're walking around with the camera and you don't want to bother with all this other stuff, you can just turn this to put it on receiver. And just if you have the camera right near your mouth, you're just talking into the camera. It works perfect because this is going to be on the back of the camera. You heard what this sounded like at the beginning of the video, because that was before, while I was showing you the shotgun mic. We're just going to call them the shotgun mic and the wireless mic rather than, while I was showing you the ECM-B1M, you were hearing the ECM-W2BT. I know. So you've heard this already. And by the way, when you use multiple lavaliers, like I was doing, so I'd have onto two cameras, the wireless stuff, they're going to interfere with one another. But again, if you have like one wireless and one shotgun, well, then I'm good to go. Important difference between this one, the W2BT and the B1M. These need to be recharged. There's a little door here on the side, and it's micro or micro USB. There's two of them, so, and you have to charge them both. So what I tend to do when I'm charging these is I put them back in the little clip here, see, so that I can protect the pins on the one that goes onto the receiver, and then this, it's just a clip that slides in there. But I put them back together, and then I have my little mini USB, and I will, you know, plug in one, and the light comes on, and then it goes out when it's fully charged, and then I just move it to the other one, and then the light comes on, the light goes out when it's fully charged, and then I can do it. But the B1M doesn't need to be charged. What magic is this? It uses it's on a hot shoe. The hot shoe has access to the camera's battery. So the B1M pulls its power from the battery of the camera. So yeah, okay, it's gonna cut your recording time a little bit. I have no idea how much. I'll let you know after a while, but I'm thinking it's not gonna be, I think, remember the Sony spec is like 2 hours and 20 minutes for the big batteries in the A7C. So I'm thinking, well, okay, so maybe it'll be like 2 hours or an hour and 45 minutes with the microphone pulling power. I can live with that just fine. Now, that's with the big Z100 batteries, the big boys that are in the A7C. In the ZVE10, which has the smaller batteries, yeah, I don't know how well that's going to go, how well that's going to fly. So that's what I had to tell you about microphones. I'm relatively pleased with this one. It's worked okay. It has, again, the lavalier. I already told you, the muffling and the louder and quieter as you turn your head. It's got that problem because it's a lavalier mic. But for a lavalier mic, it's one of the ones I've had the least trouble with. And this shotgun mic, this B1M, ECM-B1M, I am very, very happy with it. I mean, well, you heard the video last week. You've heard this video, so you know what it sounds like. I think it sounded pretty good last week, and I'll see how it sounds today, but I don't see why I wouldn't be using this from now on. It's just, and again, the convenient, not having to worry about clipping because it's auto attenuating. Apparently, by the way, that's another potential knock on this microphone. Apparently, when you have it set on auto level and not manual, which I tend to do because I'm an auto kind of guy. But if you get real quiet, then it'll start pushing the gain up, trying to pick up, and then when you start talking again, you're real loud and it push. But of course, you know, I don't have to worry about this because I'm always loud. So there's never long periods of quiet, stretches of quiet, where it's going to automatically bring the gain up and then drop it back down. Or there will be. You'll be the judge. You're going to be listening. So let me know. You can tell me in the comments. So that's it on the microphones. Probably next week I'll do a tripod video. Tripod and other accessories. And I have no idea what's happening after that, although I did think of another Dr. Wigo on books, but I don't want to have them too close together, so there'll be one coming. So I have stuff lined up. It's just I don't know what I'm going to do. But next week, I probably will do the tripod video. Thanks for stopping by. Hope this helped you maybe make a microphone decision or not. I don't know. And these are very expensive microphones. So if you're not sure, watch more videos. Don't run out and buy one because they're very pricey. By the way, you don't have to worry about this one, the shotgun, because you can't get it. They're sold out everywhere. They're like ZBE10s. You have to go on eBay and pay a huge premium. These, I think, are more available, although they were when I bought it, but they may not be anymore. I don't know. So that's it. Hope this was somewhat helpful. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.